I think this year, this is 2022, right? So you are now probably like 5 years in corporate.
Yeah.
And then, and your 5 years is a lot, actually. It's actually a lot. There's a lot of things that one can learn in that. It's a whole degree and an honors degree on top of it, you know. So what have you learned thus far? I mean, you've worked in risk, in finance and in IT, well, with regards to your corporate gene and stuff like that. Surely there are some couple of tips that you can give to people in terms of maneuvering corporate.
Yeah. So when I started working, it was shocking, like working environment and adapt. Your body actually needs to adapt, waking up, sitting at a desk. Because when you're studying, you can maybe have classes from 8 until 12, then maybe you have the rest of the day off or things like that. So now you're working, it's 8 until 4 at your desk. And, so I learned a lot of things. And I think one thing that I can say I specifically learned is not to pressurize myself into immediately going into the right career, immediately finding the right job for myself, because I also struggled with actually finding what exactly do I enjoy at work. Yes, I studied this degree, but it actually gave me a lot of options, and I had to learn what was out there, what I can do, and how to climb. So not to pressurize myself, but yeah, it's been a long journey.
So now, what advice can you give to somebody who's going to be studying in a graduate program? What are the do's and don'ts?
Sure. My graduate year was very interesting. So the do's and don'ts is, once you're in that graduate program, I feel like you shouldn't be scared to speak out. At the end of the day, maybe the attitude that I went in with was that they are doing me a favor. There's so many people who are unemployed and they've selected me. But it's not really a favor. You are there to work. So if you have issues, you need to speak out. If you see something wrong, you need to speak out. Of course, there's a way and manner to do it, but I think you need to learn how to speak out and know that you are there to do the job. So don't think, I'm just a small graduate, I won't make an impact. Like, if they give you a job, run with it. If they give you a project, show them your potential, and also have a plan to say, yes, I'm a graduate, but I see myself here in 2 years time. If you can find somebody who can help you, then you communicate with that person that I like what you're doing, how did you get there, please help me. And people in corporate most of the time are very helpful, and they'll understand that, oh, it's a graduate and so ambitious, let me take them under my wing and run with them.
Yeah. Did you have a mentor?
I had a mentor. So in the graduate program, they did assign somebody to be your mentor. And yeah, she was my mentor. She helped me when I had issues. I'd talk to her to say, I'm having this issue, please help me out. And even now we still talk, not as close, but she still gives me career advice, that, oh, do this, do that. So it does help. But in the graduate program, for us, they gave us mentors.
And that is advisable, right? In corporate, just to have a mentor.
Yes, I think it's advisable. I've never had a mentor outside the graduate program. So maybe it's also something I should try. I should find someone and ask them to be my mentor.
Okay, so interpersonal skills. So definitely you need to be someone that can, like I said earlier, someone that can speak. So if you feel like maybe something is not the way that it should be, put that out there. And two, just which is something that I think for me took me a bit of time to get out of your comfort zone. Like, you're going to have to work with people that are different from you, that have a completely different background from yours. So you need to be in a position where you're able to navigate through that. Don't just sit back and say, Ben is the kind of person that I understand. because then you won't be able to work with someone that's different from him, if I may put it like that. But also be confident in who you are. I think one of the things that helped me was to just remember who I am and where I come from and where I started, which kind of leads you to understanding the incredible effort that you have made to get to where you are. Because when you forget where you come from, you end up being stressed by things that for someone of your background should just be vain. I don't know if it makes sense. Because you end up stressing, I don't have the nicest car, I don't have the blah, 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 blah. Stress, but when you think about the fact that you started in a position where you didn't have electricity sometimes at home, then you really just start appreciating the incredible progress that you've had through your life. So know who you are and be confident in that. So for me, I think that helps you to not get swayed. And I know this might sound like I'm derailing from the interpersonal skills question, but it's not. Getting swayed is not just a street concept. It's also an office concept. I don't know if that makes sense. If you know who you are and things that make sense to you, then in a setting, whether it's a boardroom or a meeting setting, you're going to be able to maybe call someone out if they're saying something that they shouldn't be saying to you or to anyone else. So you need to be able to do that. I think a lot of people think they're supposed to be too quiet because maybe it's arrogance or maybe the bosses are gonna think you're a problem. No, they need someone that speaks so that this person can also speak to their clients. So so that's that.
So let's go back to the soft skills. You spoke about soft skills briefly, and it is one subject that, even at university, we don't actually dwell much on. We just want students to pass and everything. And you start to see it when you start applying for jobs, that actually now these people, yes, I have the qualifications and they are good, but now they are not interested in this anymore. Well, they are interested in it because that's what brought me here. But now they start to actually get a deep dive into your character, the soft skills that you have and stuff like that. What would you say would be some of the soft skills that are definitely required?
So I think, just broadly speaking, I think, being able to hold a conversation with someone, and not be awkward, being able to, stand on stage and actually speak. You need to be able to present. There's a lot of presentations that you're going to be doing. You need to be able to, I think, manage people. In a corporate world, you're dealing with people from all different walks of life, and people are different, and not everyone thinks or reacts the same. So you need to have the ability to see, like, okay, this person thinks type of things like this, so I'm going to explain it this way. Or this person prefers if I explain things this way. Because, I think one of the big parts of our job is also explaining very complicated things in a very simple manner. Because at the end of the day, not everyone understands the complexity of the work that we're doing, right? Everyone is a specialist in their own area, and there's so many things that the accountants and whoever else are doing. I'm like, it goes right over my head. Okay, like, to me, accounting was one of those difficult subjects at school. So you need to be able to explain very complicated things. And because at the end of the day, if you're working on a project and you're saying, look, I've got a great way of bringing in more revenue or cost saving, whatever the case is, and you can't explain it, no one's going to buy into it. So you need to have those presentation skills and the ability to relay information. Honestly, in terms of soft skills, there's hundreds and hundreds of things that you can really learn. I think, sort of conflict management is also very important. Just being able to sit and, analyze a room and see how people try and say, okay, look, this person's a little bit aggressive. Let me not fight back. Or just learning how to deal with different types of people.
Yeah.
And again, it's not to say that, you need to deal with difficult or bad people. That's not the case. I mean, in my experiences, I've worked with some very pleasant people. But you need to be able to speak to people with different thought processes. You need to be able to just, manage the room and, calm it down if it needs to calm down. If it's not being productive, just being able to, sort of step up and take charge and, make the conversation a bit more focused or whatever the case might be. Now, those skills are really important. I'm honestly just mentioning a few, but there's a lot of soft skills that I think that you actually need to be successful, not just as a quant, but I think in a corporate career in general.
Yeah, and I like that. What I've seen in some of the videos, especially those of NetBank, that I think there is what do they call that? Is it an orientation or some induction before you guys get into the thing? Mm-hmm. And I think they also cover much on those kind of things.
No, it is. I think that, that's one of the things that I'm also very thankful for. Before we, in the NetBank grad program, before you actually embark on your first sort of projects or whatever the case might be, there is a lot of learning that needs to be done, and whether that's just bringing you up to speed about what's going on in the bank or, we had courses on business writing and, there's opportunities for, to practice your public speaking and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. Because I think those are things, from, university side, you never think of, you never touch on. You don't even know that it's important until you actually start looking for a job when you realize, geez, actually, these are important skills to have. So, I'm very thankful for that because, we got to, do a lot of training before we actually stepped into whatever role that you're going to walk into. So at least you don't walk into it completely blindsided. And look, I think the system works very well, and it's very helpful. It really is. And I think anyone who has sort of been on the NetBank grant program will tell you, just and not just that introduction period, but the program as a whole, just how much you actually get to learn and explore. And very often I feel like we end up learning more than someone that actually just walks into, a normal quant role off the get-go. You're just exposed to so many different people. And I think anyone in a corporate career realized, how important networking is. So, you just get exposed to so many different people from different departments working on different ideas and different projects. And you really get a global overview of actually what's sort of in the space.
And let's talk about the skills that you're in refinery, you're an engineer there. What are the skills that you use daily that you think people, especially engineering students, when they get into the industry, they need to actually embody those type of skills?
So, traditionally, apparently, engineers are introverts. So you need some. Actually, it's more like now. The first skill that you need to have is to deal with people. So, and for me to learn that, I was the first month that I got into this company, they took me to a training or a course which is called Dale Carnegie Seminar. So it actually reminded me of our time when you used to read that book, man.
Sure.
How to influence and influence people.
Yeah.
I still appreciate it. So they took me to that training. So I got to learn how to deal with people, and also communication, one of the skills. And also you need to be analytical. So, and also creative thinking as well, because most of the time actually you especially when there are breakdowns, so you need to act swiftly or maybe as soon as you can to solve the problem. So you need to be critical in terms of your thinking, and also to deal with people well, because you need to work with different discipline within your, or maybe departments. So which comes back to communication. So I think those are the skills that one needs. So yeah, so being an introvert, it should actually end. So yeah, I had to as well.
Yeah, I remember you were quite a huge introvert, man. Like, just, so how did you actually bust out,
I know, actually, as I mentioned, I appreciate that book, man. So it helped me a lot. So it helped me a lot, man. So, because actually, they even gave us some small books. So it gives you some lines of Dale Carnegie. I think they're saying, leaders don't criticize, or you must always smile, so you don't complain and those things. So eventually, I think as time goes, you get to become comfortable, and also you build your confidence. So yeah, I mean, I'd say that book helped me a lot.
So that's why you smile a lot these days, huh?
Yeah, man. So
yeah.
So yes, Ben.
So the book that he's talking about is the book by Dale Carnegie. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Man, that book is just amazing, especially on leadership and also human management. It's just proper.